Hello and welcome to this live. Great to be back to talk to you about languages. Of course, our favorite topic of conversation, and always a pleasure for me to talk about languages with you. And as usual, I get lots of nice questions about languages. And this week, in advance of this live, I wanted to talk about something I'm working on with Avishta. And Avishta and I met actually on Clubhouse, and she's based in Canada and has been working on an event on Clubhouse in the past, which happened a few weeks ago, or maybe a month or so ago now, called Lingua Cultura. And we talked before that happened, and I spoke at that event. And she got together some really great people and really great ideas for that event. And so when I was asked to take part in the Burning Man online, which is an event that's going to be run on Sparkleverse, which is a platform for an online environment platform where the Burning Man is going to be hosted this year. And I was asked if I would volunteer to help out create a languages camp. So the camp is going to be called Camp Languages, so that it's very, very obvious what it does and what it's about. It's about practicing languages, about learning about languages, learning about how to learn languages, or anything and everything in between. You can basically do whatever you want on there that's related to languages. But the idea is just that we all get together and we talk and we meet people even outside of the usual language learning community, which is pretty cool because it means that we get to bring more people into our fantastic language learning in family online. And that's always a good thing, I think. So the idea here is that we get together, we bring our experiences, we bring our language knowledge, and we share it with other people around the world. And that's something that I think we're all about. So that's why I wanted to sort of talk today about that, and just to see how many of you would like to take part in doing this, and to get as many of you involved as possible. There are three ways that you can get involved. You can be a participant, and that adds to the value for everyone on the platform in terms of sharing your knowledge, sharing yourself, just being there to talk and interact with lots of people in the environment. And I think that's already a huge contribution. There are two other roles that you could have as well, in addition to being a participant. And this event will go on from the 29th of August through to the 5th of September. So it's quite a few days, and you will get the chance to then integrate into the environment and talk to lots and lots of people, meet people all around the world, and use your language skills for that. Also, just any other knowledge or anything you want to talk about, really, with anyone else. And of course, you're free to go to any of the other camps as well. But the languages camp is where we're going to be doing the work, and setting that up is going to be going on now over the next couple of weeks. So if you want to, you can also lead a group, like sort of have a room that you have available for an hour at a time. And you can say, for example, I want to do an hour of speaking Georgian, and you can lead a Georgian group, for example. You can be there, and anyone else who wants to learn Georgian or learn from you. You could even teach the language if you wanted to, and have it as a teaching opportunity. It could be a language that's more commonly studied around the world as well, like Spanish or French, or even English. You can do whatever you want, really. Then you could also talk about cultural things. You might want to discuss sort of things about the culture of a particular country or region of the world, and that could also be something that you offer to do. You could also, if you wanted, to think of anything and everything in between, maybe talking about what it's like being a translator, what it's like working with languages, however you work. Talking about maybe something that you're passionate about, something you want to get more attention on, like it could be raising awareness for sign languages. It could be raising awareness for for minority languages, endangered languages, and indigenous languages, talking about them, and so people can talk and find out more. So it could be really lots and lots of things that you could do, and then you could also be a volunteer. So as a volunteer, typically what we'd expect is that you would go into the rooms, make sure things were working and flowing nicely, bringing people in, answering questions if there's anything, making sure that the speaker's being heard, and that the other people are sort of as a kind of a moderator role. You could make sure that, when the speaker gets to the end of their what they've got to say, then you can just moderate and make sure that the interactions run smoothly. So you can do all those kinds of things on the online environment. And I think it would be quite a fun thing to do. I'm going to be there. And I got lots of questions, for example, when I asked just generally to everyone on Instagram, what would you like me to do? What would you like to ask me? And there were many questions about specific languages. What about French materials? What about how do I do this? How do I do that? This is going to be the opportunity that you're going to get to come and talk to me, and I will make myself available, and I will use your questions as room ideas and event ideas that I will also give. So it could be about raising multilingual children. It could be about specific languages. It could be anything you want, really, and just to sort of make myself available to answer questions in a smaller environment or in a more personal way, so things that are very specific to you. And I'm very, very happy to do that. So even if you want to just come and be a participant, come and be a participant and ask the questions you want to ask. We will actually be able to talk to each other and see each other. It will be on this kind of Zoom type technology. So you'll be able to click on the room, click on the place where the thing's taking place, and you will get access. Now, there's going to be more details coming with how you actually sign up, and it's quite easy, actually. I have participated in these kinds of events before with Sparkleverse, and it works very, very well and very efficiently. You would basically have a sign up with Sparkleverse. The tickets themselves are based on donations, like I do with the Polyglot Conference. So we don't exclude anyone, we just include people. So you would be able to sign up and you can donate to Sparkleverse whatever you want. This is nothing to do with me personally. I won't see anything you donate. This is to Sparkleverse. Just to sort of make it very clear, I'm a volunteer who's setting up a camp with Avishta under the Sparkleverse umbrella. So Avishta and I don't see any money you donate. It doesn't come to us directly. That will just go to Sparkleverse. But they are putting it on. They are using the technology. It costs them money to do that kind of thing. So if you if you enjoy it, you can also donate. I believe they will have opportunities to be able to donate throughout as well. But that's up to you. In terms of the languages area, then that will be something that you you can come and just add to and make it as fun as you want it to be. Because really, the more we put in as a community, the more we get out as a community. This is true for any kind of event. I think that if we come and we make it what we want to, there's kind of, for us, we can participate, of course, and hope that everyone does everything else. But the more we do actively and the more we understand that as a community experience, I think the more positive and the better it becomes for all of us. Because if you don't see, for example, a room or an event going on for something you want to happen, make it happen. And you can even I believe during the event, we're going to have some degree of flexibility to be able to add in events, language exchanges, language taster sessions, those things. We'll be able to add them in during the event too. It won't be that we will set this up and then that will be it. If you want an extra thing, you will be able to, but it's going to be very useful for us to have a nice program already set up so that we can just add that into the space and it'll be ready to go. We'd particularly be happy to hear from anyone else who'd like to volunteer with us to help to keep these things going forward, so that there's a constant stream of events happening around the clock over the entire period. We would love that to happen, and I think if that's possible and you're happy to do that, we would love to hear from you. Whatever you want to do during those 7 days, please do fill out the form there's a description box under this video, and you will have a link to fill out the form. It's a very short Google form, which basically just takes the basic details about you that we need to be able to reach out to you and contact you about this event. Obviously, we don't contact you randomly about lots of other things that have got nothing to do with this event. It's strictly for this event, and only Avishta and I have got access to that to be able to reach out to you. And so we will, if you fill it out, and we will look forward to seeing you at the Camp Languages at this Burning Man event with Sparkleverse. So if you take part, just so you know, you're known as burners. That's what they call a Burning Man. Burning Man normally is an event that takes place as a physical event that's kind of like people go out into the middle of nowhere in the United States, and they camp out for a week together, and they sort of share stories and experiences and whatever, and they do lots of different things. Obviously with COVID, that's not possible. So last year and now this year, they're having it online. So I very much look forward to seeing as many of you there as possible. It'll be a week of opportunities to talk to each other, to really interact, to use our languages, and to share our experiences and to get to know each other a bit better. So I really hope to see you there. And if there are any questions as well, of course, about the whole event, please feel free to pop them in this video. After I've finished the live, you can pop them in there and I will get back to them. And then we'll happily answer what we can. Of course, there's a space on the form as well to answer or to ask questions. So please do pop your questions as well on the form. If you've got questions that you would like to have answered, they can go on there too. And yes, so I hope to see you there. It's going to be a similar type of thing as to what we do at the Polyglot Conference in this way. The Polyglot Conference will be happening obviously in October, so it's quite a long way away. We've got a good few months before that happens, and it's a similar thing. We would love to see as many of you there as possible, and to be able to sort of take advantage of that time together to just sort of really enjoy each other's company. So yeah. And that's really it for my topic today. It's a bit shorter than normal, I know, because it's more of an information thing and just to draw your attention to what's possible. And as I say, I hope to see as many of you there as we can. And I'm very happy to answer any questions you've got, of course, related to the event, but also anything else that you'd like to ask as well. So I'll take the event related questions first, of course, just to say hello to everyone joining now. If you're interested in the event, obviously there's a lot that I just said, so you're very, very welcome to review that after we're done here. So what's the name of the event? So it's all in the, if you look in the description, you'll find a form, and it gives you background to the event itself, about Burning Man and about Sparkleverse and how it's going to be run. There are lots of links there as well to follow, but also we give some details about the event. And Camp Languages will be a camp at that event. So basically, I was just asked to create a camp at the event. That's what I've been asked to do, and that's what I'm doing. So yeah, and the best way to do that is with, as the Beatles song says, with a little help from my friends. And so as my friends, I hope that you will enjoy helping out. So yeah, we'll all get by with a little help from our friends, right? Let me see any other questions we have here. Camp Languages, yes. Camp Languages. Lucchino Lamparialino. Lucchino, se qua va benissimo. Okay, let me see. I am aware that there are quite a lot of messages here, so I'm just going down and seeing if I can pick out the questions that I have on here. It's been very busy couple of weeks. I finished that Estonian challenge, and obviously we talked about that last week. And so I can't believe it's been a week since that happened. And I've been studying it now for another week, and I'm continuing with my Estonian. It's been a lot of fun actually doing that. And I've got this week that's just gone. I didn't get to have any italki lessons to practice the Estonian that I've been learning. Strange things, you know, with sort of times and something happening and with my teacher and then with me, and it's not happened, but I have been studying every day, and I'm finding that the words that I had, some of them I need to refresh, but more of them are sticking. Even the new ones I'm getting, they tend to be related to some of the ones I've already got. So I'm finding really funny things like that, like just different variations and versions of words I've already studied, or so it's been quite an interesting week actually, picking up more vocabulary. I thought it would be equally as sort of fast paced, but actually going down to 30 words after doing 40 words a day I've noticed a difference. And I'm going to be continuing with it all this month. And the other thing I've been doing as well is considering sort of my next steps with the other languages I've been studying. So as many of you know, I've been studying Korean, and I will be continuing with a course in Korean as well as studying it on my own. And I'll also be continuing with my grade 2 Cornish. And also I have my Gaelic as well, which I will be doing. And I'm hoping that my Gaelic will be at a place where I will be able to start speaking, because so far it's felt very theoretical, and it's been more to do with sort of looking at poetry and things like that. But actually being able to speak would be quite cool. And I got this, I've been trying out a course actually that I found called Gaelic with, oh my word, Gaelic with Jason. And he sells this course, and I've decided I'd buy it and use it as a way to revise the first year that I've done of Gaelic, and it's actually been quite useful to do that. So I'm going to do that before I start my second level of the course. Hopefully be able to get to a point where I can actually say something in Gaelic. I know a few people have asked me about Gaelic since I've been doing it, and what I can say and where I'm up to, and I just don't feel very confident with it yet at all. It's going to take time, I think, to get into it. I'm definitely way more confident with Cornish than I am with Gaelic. Let me see. Звучит классно. Да, это для этого, для Camp Languages. Спасибо, Тимофей. Спасибо, интересно. Но это было хорошо. Но okay, Richard. The conference still planned in Cholula in October, online again. Okay, so Jay, yeah, with the situation as it is still in the world, I think it would be very difficult to have an in-person conference, especially a large conference like the one we'd planned for Cholula. So I don't think that travel's going to be that easy, and I think it's not going to be very fair of me to go ahead with a conference in person, while a lot of people in the world who would maybe want to go wouldn't be able to go potentially. So it will be on the website again in our virtual environment. Pop in the video. Yeah, pop them in the video. Yeah, it's very, yeah, I said pop in the description. To pop something in the description, it means to put something in the description. It's very British, yeah. Sometimes I do say some very British things. Hey Richard, I watched your last video record from last week and haven't seen your comment about what I said about Speakly interface not showing every word role in the sentence. I did actually answer that, Nimrod. What I said about that was it tends to, when you do it over a long period of time, you tend to find that the words in the sentence that aren't highlighted first, or are highlighted first, are not highlighted in another one. So what I found is some sentences are either very similar or the same, and you can see the highlighted things. I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing or a design problem not seeing all of the words and how they interrelate. I think that it's possibly just to make you focus on learning the language and getting used to the words more than to learn every single part of the grammar ahead of time. You can always click on I click on the translation, and then you can also look at the grammar reference as well. But I know what you mean about not seeing everything in Speakly when you just see the new words that you're reading. But I think that it's not necessarily a bad thing, and as I say, you do see them again and again and again, and in contexts where you can see everything that you mentioned, you can't in the initial sort of new word thing. Hey, will you ever offer language coaching courses like Luca Lampariello? Marlon, potentially, yeah. Actually, lately I've been thinking about this, and I quite fancy the idea of coaching. I guess, yeah, coaching more people. So I do coach one person at the moment, but it's not. It's a favor that I'm doing for a family. And so I just do it as a favor, and I do that twice a week, and it's something that I'd never really done before. I've given advice, and I've given so people come back to me for advice that I know, and sort of friends and things, and children and families and stuff. They come back to me for advice every now and again, and I've not really thought of it as coaching, but I guess it's a kind of coaching. But this really has been. I've been coaching somebody to finish their exams at university, and actually, yeah, it's been pretty good. So they had 3 exams left to do, and they've now passed 2 of them, and now they've got 1 more left at the end of this month or September. So hopefully they'll finish the 3rd exam as well and pass, and that will be great. And I've noticed a really big difference in the level of language. So that's been a really rewarding thing, actually, and I've really enjoyed doing it. I've enjoyed I say something very similar to Luca in the very beginning. I can't teach anyone a language. I can't teach you as an individual a language. What I can teach you is how to learn, and sort of give you the tools how to learn a language. So I can give you that kind of insight. That's what I can do, because I've been through the process so many times, and so I can show people that kind of thing. And this is partly what I do for you all every week, just because I like you and I want you to succeed. I want you all to succeed in language learning, and I passionately believe that everyone can learn. So I do this just free of charge on the internet once a week, and I think this is actually my 52nd a week. So I've been doing this once a week for a year, I believe now, which is crazy. But yeah, this is what I want to be able to do. And if I could do that with more people, yeah, I potentially would, Marlon. I potentially would. If there's interest in me doing that, obviously, I mean, if I do that as a job, it would be difficult to do it for free and just use all of my time. Unfortunately, I've not won the lottery, and I'm not a millionaire, so I don't have the resources to just give all of my time for free. But if there were people out there who would be willing to help, or if they would be willing to pay, I would be very happy to do things like that from time to time. Yeah, of course. So let me see. Nimrod, that's not showing the meaning of the words in the same window, and in writing exercises don't show all the translation or any explanation. I'm not sure what you mean though, Nimrod. I'm sorry. I'm not sure what you mean. I think maybe we need to talk about that separately, but I'm not sure. As far as I've seen, so I get all of the expression. So from Speakly, when I use it, I tend to see, as I say, over a period of time, not talking sort of just one session, I'm talking like quite a few words, right? So maybe every 60 or so words, I'll see sentences repeated. There may be minimal changes, but that's when I see the explanations, if you get what I mean. Because you pick up some of the grammar intuitively with Speakly. That's one of the really good design things that I like about it, is that I intuitively see how the language works. I don't necessarily look at the grammar myself. I just gain an understanding, or a kind of an intuitive way of playing with the language to do it, to sort of manipulate it. Certainly been the way with Speakly for me, and there are certainly things that I've got wrong because I haven't studied the grammar properly through it and all of the forms. So sometimes I will over extrapolate or overuse a rule, the generic rule that I see, kind of like as we do as children when we're learning our first languages. But then I will see that there's a different form that's available. So yeah, I kind of get what you mean, but I kind of don't, because over the long period of time that I've used it, it's now been, what, 5-6 weeks that I've been using Speakly, and I've seen quite a lot of repetition. So questions that I had at the beginning are starting to become clearer and clearer the more I go through the application, if that makes sense. Let me see. I can see if there's any more questions here. Let's see. There are questions. I'm so sorry. I'm sort of very into. What the? I'm so sorry. I can't see. After the Inu. I'm so sorry. I can't make that out. I'm trying to make out one of the comments. I can't. It's a little bit difficult for me to see that. Kajma Arthur the Inu. I'm not sure what that is. I'm sorry. Is that in Gaelic? In Irish? Sorry. Is that in Irish or in? Let me see. I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't know what it is. Feel free to let me know. Okay. For info on camp. Okay, thank you for the info on Camp the Gaelic with Jason. Do you have a link? I don't have a link that I can put in here, but if you just type in Gaelic with Jason into Google, you will find his page. You'll find his page, and you'll be able to look at the courses. He's got a foundation course and an intermediate course. I'm not affiliated with him in any way. I came across his page. Actually, he has a YouTube channel, so you can have a look on YouTube. You put Gaelic with Jason into YouTube as well. You can have a look at some of his videos for free. He has some on his site for free too. And I had a look at them, and I kind of liked how he was explaining things, and it just made it a little bit easier. So yeah, have a look and see what you think. Let me see. Hola, hola, hola. ¿Qué tal estamos? A ver, ¿dónde estamos ahora con esto? A ver, ¿dónde estamos? A ver. I started using Speakly. It's really great. It's a really great app. Thanks. Yeah, you're very welcome. I'm glad that you're finding it useful. I mean, my thought with Speakly was is that I could have just done a kind of a basic. This is Speakly. This is how it works. But now you've seen that I've used Speakly exclusively for 1 month, and then the video interview that I did on TV in Estonia on Monday. I've had some very nice comments. My Estonian was terrible. I mean, I made mistakes, and I made mistakes that I don't normally make actually as well. And but let me just give you a bit of background into that. The thing that I was most impressed with me about with that interview wasn't the interview and my level of Estonian that, as you see it on the interview. The thing I was most impressed with that you don't see is they contacted me on Monday morning at 11 a.m. They wanted me to have a test call with them at 1 p.m. on Monday afternoon. And I did that, and they called and spoke only in Estonian to organize the call. So I did all of the organization of the call in Estonian. And then I had the actual call at about 6 p.m. And as soon as I got on the call, everything was in Estonian again. So all of the "Are you ready? Whatever are you doing? Is everything okay?" All of that was all in Estonian, and then it just went straight to the interviewer, and I saw the kind of the bits that flashed on my screen of what was happening before I was on the program. I saw those on my screen on Skype, and so it's kind of a little bit weird because you're kind of like you're watching TV, but then you are part of the TV. So it's a bit strange when you do that, and it can be a little bit disconcerting as well because you flash on your screen. So you can imagine I'm looking back at a picture of me on my entire screen while speaking to somebody in a studio in Estonia, and that's kind of how it worked. And I didn't know the questions in advance. I didn't get them in advance. They just spoke to me in Estonian, and I responded. Um, the fact that I could do that for me was the most impressive thing from my time of doing Speakly, because all the way through, if you use the Speakly app, you're told that you understand a certain a percentage of the language, right, of normal common speech. And I think after, was it 1,240 words that I'd done when I had the interview, roughly, um, I was at around I want to say 72, 73%, something like that, of every sort of daily speech that I should understand. And the fact that I could follow the instructions to get onto the TV, and the fact that I actually understood the questions, that for me was the biggest win for the whole thing. And so when I sort of did this, I had no idea that I would end up on TV. I thought that I was going to do another interview with either Ut or Ingel from Speakly, or I was just going to have my next italki meeting, my italki lesson, and I was going to record that for you to see how I did at the end. This interviews came out of nowhere on Monday morning, and by Monday evening I was on TV. So this came from absolutely nowhere for me, and so really what you see from the beginning of the whole Speakly thing to me being on TV is what you can do in a month just using Speakly exclusively. And I hope that is kind of a better way of showing you what's possible than just telling you, or or saying what I think might be possible. I actually just did it for a month so that you can see. Comment: the title is not clear, as this is about really. It feels like inside a language, just letting you know. Yeah, the start of the of this live yoga was about yoga bliss dance. The start of this live was actually about what the title's about, and now we're into the Q&A. So this is just questions that I'm getting asked. So, and they are general questions. All of my lives start with a topic, and then they go on to general Q&A. So I hope you enjoy it, and if you've got any questions, you're very welcome to ask them. But yeah, I'm aware that this the thing I'm talking about right now is not about the original topic. The original topic lasts for about 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes at the very beginning. So if you go back at the recording afterwards, you'll hear all about the original topic. I always front end that so that when people are interested in a specific topic, they click it and then they can watch what they came to watch. Let me see. Sounds good, Richard. What's this? Effort. Okay. Okay. Very. A year doing it sounds like a great deal. Devoted, almost. Yeah. It has been. You're very, very welcome. Yeah, it's been a year doing this, and I've really enjoyed it. Actually, every week I enjoy talking to you. I just find, for me too, I find having the company and talking to you about the thing that we all enjoy is just lovely. So yeah, I mean, for me, it's an absolute pleasure to do these lives. I really, really enjoy them. Irish. Okay, yeah, Irish is similar to Gaelic. Yep, it is. Thank you for writing in. Yeah, I thought it might have been Irish when you when I saw it, but I couldn't make it all out because I'm not an Irish speaker yet. Yet. Hopefully that will change. Um, but yeah, Irish and Gaelic are fairly closely related. They both come from an original language of Old Erse, and Old Erse spiked off into sort of three languages. So you have Modern Irish, Gaelic, Scottish Gaelic, and then Manx or Manx Gaelic, if you want to call it Manx Gaelic, Manx Gaelic. In fact, it's funny because I was always told when I was younger that it was Gaelic or Irish Gaelic for Irish, and it was Gaelic or Scottish Gaelic for the language spoken in Scotland. And actually, it seems that the more I get into these groups of different speakers, that actually Gaelic and Gaelic are very interchangeable. And in fact, my Scottish Gaelic teacher calls it Gaelic, which for me threw me in the beginning because I was never used to anybody doing that. And then we talked about it at length, and she said, "Oh yeah, we call it Gaelic or the Gaelic, you know, because it's known by different pronunciations and names, and Irish is the same. Even within, I know that there are people on TikTok who do they make great content about Irish, and they talk about this a few times, and people will comment and say, "Oh yeah, it's not called Gaelic, it's not called Gaelic, it's called Irish." And they say, well, actually, it depends on where you're from as well, and which version you speak, how you refer to the language. So I find these things quite cool. Could you please give me an example of what you're going to do in the event? So the event, we will do a myriad of things. So it will be basically a camp that you click on a virtual map. So there'll be a map, and you'll have camp languages, which you'll be able to find. You click on the camp languages, you enter there. There'll be a program of when things are happening based on your time, and we will have things in the calendar that you can then go into a certain room, for example, or sit on a table, a virtual table that is, and either take part in a language exchange. Depending on what people, what you all decide that you want to do at the event, it could be teaching a language, it could be discussion about language, it could be about languages in work, it could be about cultural things linked with language, it could be a language lesson, it could be exchanges, it could be whatever we get in, we will plot that on the schedule, and I will add some of my own in there as well so that we can talk. I'll probably get people to come and talk, including myself, about raising children with multiple languages, things like that. We could have things on anything and everything you want, really. If you've got any ideas of sessions you want, and I know people who are good to talk about those kinds of things, I will reach out to them as well and make an effort to fill the program with what you want. We're going to do a similar thing at the Polyglot conference this year too. So we'll have lots of these kinds of live talks as well in October. But we're going to do it we're going to use camp languages to see how that all works. And the more of you there, the merrier, I think. Let me see. Interesting. Okay. Well, I would do a Celtic languages video one day. I'd possibly. I'm quite happy to. There are some really good things already on Celtic languages on YouTube. So I don't want to reinvent the wheel, but at the same time, yeah, I'm really getting into studying more about and more of the Celtic languages. So potentially, yeah. I mean, I'd be happy to if you'd like to see something like that from me. Okay. All honesty, you didn't use Speakly exclusively. If you also have a bunch of italki lessons in addition, you needed a speaking practice as well. You don't get that from the app. Actually, you do, Sophie. You can use Speakly to do that. I just basically with my italki teacher, I only used Speakly content to go through the things that I was learning. But you can actually book lessons with a Speakly tutor as well. So there are Speakly tutors that you can use, and I used one of those for during the learning process too. So I know what you mean. It's not. It wasn't just Speakly. It kind of was, and it wasn't. So it was in that the only materials that I used were Speakly materials. I didn't go outside of that. How I studied, that's a means of how I was learning the language, and I was interested in practicing what I was learning. So whether you do that with a teacher from Speakly or somewhere else, or whether you do it with a friend or a language exchange, that's entirely up to you. You may even be learning the language just to read. So me personally, I wanted to speak. But the materials and the information that I have and the language that I've learned is all Speakly, and the methodology of how I did it is yeah, I used what they say we should use, including a lesson with them. So Nimrod, I do get what you're saying, Richard. I guess I just need to go more with the flow. Yeah, it is a bit. I know how it feels, Nimrod, with going with the flow. Sometimes when it's not what you're used to doing, and I get it. Um, there is a kind of a when you're sort of not going deeply into the grammar, and if you're used to doing that and you sort of want to know how everything works straight away, it can be very tempting to do that and sort of just jump to that. I kind of got used to doing that, of not jumping into all of the grammar, when I first went to the Yunus Emre Institute for Turkish. They actually said that we're just going to teach you what you need for when you need it, so that you focus on that now, and then you get used to the words, and then the grammar reveals itself. And many of the other students in my class found that very, very difficult to accept, because they were used to a very traditional style of learning languages. You go and you have grammar tables, and you know all the verb conjugations and all of the declensions and all that kind of stuff. It's worth sticking with it, just to sort of to go past those levels, and you'll get more frustrations as you go up, but you'll also start to see some of the earlier frustrations kind of resolve themselves. That's how I found it. I've still got frustrations. I've still got them. I won't hide that. I do. So for me, for example, with the Estonian verbs, I still don't quite get. There's a ma and a da verb, or ta verb form, and I still don't quite get how they work. It's going to take time. It's going to take time. But there's so much vocabulary that's unknown that it'll probably take me a while just to get used to that before I even get into more of the grammar, if you know what I mean. So I'm not worrying it yet. I'm not worrying about it yet. We'll see how I get on. I'm going to take Speakly to the very end. So I want to get to. I think I mentioned this during the last live. But what my plan is to do this month with 30 words a day. I'll get to about 2,000 words by the end of September, and then I'm going to take it down to 15 words a day after that, and then I will take it then to the end of December, and I should finish Speakly by then, and then I'll keep giving you updates on how I get on with Estonian, and then hopefully, if I continue, my ultimate plan is to then try and sit an Estonian language exam in Estonia next year. I'd love to be able to do the B1, or if B2 is possible, I don't know, but B1, I'll probably aim for that and see how I get on. If I can do that, that's the kind of level that's required for residency in Estonia for people who want to live there. So I may well see if I can get to that level, and yeah, follow me and see what you think. But any more questions or thoughts on Speakly or anything else, I'm very, very open. I don't work for any of these people. I just do it because I enjoy doing it. So, and I hope that doing it this way has been useful, and sharing how I've used the materials. I can't guarantee that I will just be Speakly only for the whole thing, all the way through from now on. Right now it kind of is, but as I move forward, I'm going to start needing to prepare for exams if I go down that way, and writing it and using maybe materials to read other things as well, like longer texts and things. I mean, you do have them in Speakly, so I could well just use those and start writing them out and practicing with those. I might well stop doing that. I've given myself an idea now, so thank you for the questions. So yeah, there we go. Carlos, it's always, you're loving the yet when I said about Irish. I didn't speak Irish yet. It's always the way. It's always the way. There's no Greek on Speakly yet, Craig, but hopefully there will be at some point. Started looking at Click Stylenica. No, it's very Click Stylenica I like. We've been using it on a course actually, for my Greek course, and just I have a group that we go to and we practice Greek and we speak Greek and we have it's good. It's not popular with everyone because first of all it's all in Greek and there's no English in it at all. It's all in Greek, and yeah, and it can be. I mean, some of the vocabulary can be quite niche. So the B level books, the vocabulary can be quite niche because you're sort of starting to get into vocabulary and text that are quite specific. I mean, so it gets a bit away from, especially if you feel you haven't mastered the sort of A1, A2 level material and you start on the B1, it can feel a little bit strange learning vocabulary about sort of, what a brick is, or, just sort of really quite strange vocabulary, or how, different words on how to rent a flat in Greek, whatever you need. It can feel a bit weird if you've not mastered the other bits that go before it. But I guess that's kind of the growing pains when you go from those levels and you move up. Okay, let me see. Oyton, you also mentioned about possibly using raising bilingual children. Yes, that'd be really interesting. Okay, I would definitely be able to do that. I'm very happy to talk more about sort of raising children with more than one language. Absolutely. No pressure. No pressure at all. I don't feel any pressure. It's fine. So yeah, I'm happy to sort of go into that a little bit more. Let me see. J'adore vos vidéos. Bah, merci, c'est gentil. C'est très gentil, merci. Je vais voir. Ok. Attends, j'arrive pas à lire quoi. Attends. Oui, un peu. C'est un. Je pense pas trop ce qu'il faut faire en ce qui concerne la grammaire de la langue. En fait, pour moi, je fais ça d'une manière vraiment très naturelle. Donc, je pense vraiment très, très peu à ça. J'essaie de communiquer mes idées dans la langue même, pas trop. Je veux pas trop réfléchir à ce que, ce que je dis en fait. Je lis de temps en temps si c'est un peu bizarre, les formes un peu bizarres par exemple. J'essaie de lire un tout petit peu, mais c'est très rarement que je fais ça. Mais oui, c'est comme les autres langues de la même famille en fait, avec l'estonien, c'est comme ça. You're being surprised by Speakly's sentence choices. So the sentence choices on Speakly are based off what are some of the most common things really that they hear. So they've used an algorithm. Basically, they've analyzed common day text and speech that people use, and that's why they're not the same in each language either. I believe that's what I've heard from other people. I've not been through another language to say 100%, but that's what I've heard, that they're not always the same. And that's because each language is different, I guess. And so the most common words would be slightly different. So yeah, the choices, sometimes some of them are quite funny for me as well to read, but they're things that I can imagine saying in certain contexts. They're not sort of, the purple cow likes to drink orange milk, that you would see on some applications. I'm mentioning no names. but you can kind of read between the lines. But yeah, they tend to be more normal, but they show you vocabulary and also they show you grammar in different ways. Listening comprehension, improving listening. Yeah, I mean, this is one thing that I think that Speakly has done well for me, like my listening comprehension. I've got the listening exercises that they go through, and what I found as well before I did the interview was I was starting to listen to songs, and actually I started to pick out words that I knew in the songs as well, which is really cool. Estonian does have the advantage of being quite a clear language in terms of, you know, what you see is what you get with Estonian. It feels very the sort of experience. You know, in a song, for example, if they say words that you tend to be able to pick them out fairly easily compared to other languages, like say, I don't know. I mean, some languages have sort of one very different written form and one very different spoken form. Finnish is one example, for example, it's related to Estonian. That the way you write Finnish and the way you speak Finnish is quite different. Welsh can be like that as well. I mean, sort of the old style, sort of writing Welsh, um, you would write it in one way. You'd write like this huge word, and then when you hear it spoken, it's shortened to like 3 letters. And those kinds of things happen. The fortunate thing is with Welsh, at least, the more colloquial way is taught to people. In Finnish, it's not quite the case. The books are still written in the very long forms of the words. Whereas Estonian, I didn't get that impression in the same way. And certainly the songs were way more comprehensible from the written. Okay, I've just heard the next language coming out on Speakly is Norwegian, yes, and you'd love to give it a try. Yeah, I would definitely, I can definitely recommend it. I mean, as I said, I've from doing it for a month and then being able to go on TV for me was insane. I've never been able to do anything like that before. Um, I don't think, I mean, possibly I could have done that in Icelandic, but I was in Iceland for a month and I did an intensive course and I studied Icelandic before I went. But but yeah, I mean, it works. I mean, it worked. So yeah, if they come out with it and you want it, go for it. I mean, seriously. So if you had, so I'd recommend it. Um, that'd be perfect logic for next week's videos, raising multilingual child. Yeah, I mean, I can do that for sure for a video, for one of my lives. I'm thinking that I was thinking actually for the event, it might be quite a good thing because raising multilingual children tends to be a good thing to do when you've got direct questions from individuals, and it could potentially work in this format. It's good to do. It's kind of a good thing to do in person or on a call. So yeah, I mean, I'll have a think, Craig. If I do it for one of these, I might do it for one of these as well. But maybe after the Burning Man thing, because I think the Burning Man thing will, if I do a couple of sessions there on multilingual children, I think probably that will give me some good ideas and thoughts for a direction in which to go on these lives as well. First main language is to teach children. Yeah, okay. Become native multilingual. Okay, believe it. Latin languages. Okay. Yeah, I mean, Jesus, I think it depends on individuals and families. So in our family, my daughter speaks English, Macedonian, French, Spanish, and German. So those 5 languages. They're the ones that we use. Irish is the same. I'm still struggling with that. Yeah, Carlos, I know what you mean. Irish. When I see Irish, and I know a few words of Irish, but I don't. I can't. I mean, I can say like "Connosatatu" and "Ishmisha Richard," "A hen, a do, a tree, a car, a quay," that kind of stuff. That I think most people in Ireland will know because they had Irish at school, and then they didn't really. Well, even if they didn't use it, they probably still know those kinds of things. I guess it's also difficult for me used to my regular Spanish spelling. Yeah, the spelling in Irish and in Gaelic and in Manx can be a bit of a nightmare. Although my Gaelic teacher tells us that it's very logical. After Welsh, which is very logical, and after now Cornish for a year, I find Cornish pretty logical because you pretty much say it as you see it. Yeah, for me, Gaelic is not quite there yet. I'm not so used to the. I mean, I can see that there's rhyme and reason to it. It's not. They have the idea of broad vowels and slender vowels in. I don't know if this is the same in Irish, but in Gaelic you do, and that alters in quite a predictable way the sound of the consonants that are in between them. So you do get a bit of an idea, but it takes time. The cool thing, with Gaelic, one of the things, if you want to look at two texts and you see Gaelic or Irish and you don't know which is which, Gaelic only has the grave accent. It doesn't have an acute accent like Irish. So if you see something that you can't decide whether it's Gaelic or Irish, and you see an acute accent, you know it's not going to be Gaelic. They only have the one. And what that does actually, the accent mark in Gaelic elongates the vowel. So bria is the word for beautiful. Spelled B-R-E, sorry, accent. A. This is where I get mixed up now. A-H-A, I think. Bria. Uh-huh. Tabria. It's beautiful. Habria, sorry. Ta is Irish. Ha is Gaelic. This is what happens when you start talking about Irish and then you go back to Gaelic, and this is why I say my Gaelic is still very weak. I mean, I would say that now I wouldn't even class it as A1. My understanding of it, in terms of if I read something from the book that we've been studying, yes, I can make it out and I understand it roughly. But compared to like Cornish, where I think my Cornish is probably like an A2 level, it's nowhere near that. It's nowhere near that with Gaelic. I couldn't talk to you now in Gaelic, for example, whereas with Cornish I could talk to you now in Cornish. Wouldn't be great Cornish, but I could talk to you in Cornish. Probably around like I've been doing now for Estonian, it would feel similar, which is very weird to say. I still feel strange saying that. Studying a language for like 5 or 6 weeks, and then having studied Cornish for a year, feels very odd saying that they're at a similar level. It feels very strange, especially when Cornish is so similar to Welsh, and yeah, okay, I studied some Finnish, but still, I mean, my Finnish wasn't great, and I've not spoken Finnish for who knows how long. So it does feel a bit weird saying that, but it's true. They're kind of at a similar level. There are things that I can say for sure that I can say in Estonian that I can't say in Cornish, but also vice versa. There are some things I can definitely say in, I wouldn't know the word for butterfly in Estonian, but I do it's tiki-do in Cornish. So there are certain words and things that I would know in Cornish that I don't know. But then there are things that I definitely know in Estonian, even grammatically, sort of things that in the grammar that I know, I can express better than I can in Cornish. Possibly. I'm trying to think now. Yeah, possibly. Or I'd feel more sure. Okay, let me see if there's one more question and then I will make a move for today. Desculpa, esquecendo. Dia de Paz do Brasil. Obrigado. Happy Father's Day to everyone in the world. Oh, I didn't know it was Father's Day in Brazil. Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. It was I think it was a few months ago here. We don't have it in the Balkans. We don't have Father's Day, but in the UK they do. And so yeah, thank you. Muito obrigado. And for now, I think that will be it. It was lovely to see you all again. Next week, I will do my best to have a live. It's possible it might not happen, but I will let you know. I will send a message if it doesn't happen. I just don't know what my internet's going to be like. I won't be in the same place, and my internet might not be that great. But if I can make it work, I will make it work. Otherwise, if I'm not around next week, I will be back the week after for sure. And I will look forward to talking to you all then. I hope you have a wonderful day, and wherever you are in the world, and happy language learning. See you soon. Thanks for coming. Bye bye.